More. Welcome to You Have Power Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark. You Have Power is your opportunity to get answers to your legal questions. To be a part of today's program, call 407-916-674-1025 or toll free at 855-545-1025. The lines are now open. And now, here's your host, Orlando's drive time attorney, Justin Clark.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is a Friday afternoon. It's time to get a little power. You Have Power Behind the Law from Justin Clark and Associates. And Justin, as you might suspect, is up in his old stomping grounds, up in Tennessee, because there's big doings up there. So we're honored to have with us another attorney from the law firm of Justin Clark and Associates. That's Brandon Stewart. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, Tom. How you doing today?
So what's going on up in Bristol?
I think, let's see, Justin, as the listeners might know, went to this little school called University of Tennessee, Volunteers. I think they're playing Virginia Tech, an ACC school.
Got it.
And if the football, or if that game goes anyway like last week's games were going, I think the ACC team's going to take it. And apparently, and this is just me reading off Justin's Facebook, it's being played in Bristol Motor Speedway.
Got it.
So something interesting about that. It's
around the oval. Is it an oval or is it?
I honestly have no idea. I didn't look too much into it.
Is it?
It is. It's where they do the NASCAR races, the Bristol Speedway, and then they're going to have over 150,000 people that can go to this game tomorrow for Tennessee against.
But
Virginia
it's just
Tech.
a game. It's not a race
It's
and
not
a
a
game.
race and the game at the same time.
Oh yeah, that'd be a little bit too hectic.
That'd be really good.
Yeah,
that's pay-per-view. Don't go there.
So, like I was telling Tom, and
by the way, that's Rob Galbraith.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Rob.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Pushes the phones, answers the phones, pushes the buttons, and makes things happen.
Good to see you, Rob.
Hey.
As I was telling Tom, I mean, this is my favorite time of the year, man. Like, football season's back.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked. You watch football?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, of course.
What are your teams? Who are your teams?
I'll watch. I don't have any favorites per se, other than the Gators. I'll watch the Noles.
Okay.
Penn State,
right.
because we're from Pennsylvania. And as far as pro teams go, it just depends on the best matchup.
Rob, you got a team?
Oh yeah, I like the Orange Crush. Since the 7th grade, Orange Crush was always my team. Denver Broncos.
Okay.
And that's what I still like today.
Broncos had a close one last night, huh?
Yeah.
You watched that game?
They pulled it out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you know, it was FSU kicker that had to miss that one. Of course,
Yes,
got lucky. I'm a ride and die FSU fan. I went there as my alma mater. You were talking. You watched that game. You watched half of that game?
I watched part of it. Yeah,
because they were only down 28-6 at one point.
Right.
And oh my God, it took everything in me not to turn off that game.
Yeah, just watch the second half of that game.
Yeah.
Florida State. They came back though, and they showed some guts.
Has anybody hear what the halftime inspiration was from the coaches? I mean, what got them fired up?
My job's on the line. You better get going. I'm not fooling around, you boys. Come on. It's the first game of the season. We got Showtime. You know, Showtime's doing a special this year on them.
Oh,
and that's probably what it was. Is, hey, we got Showtime here. You know, you can't be messing up in front of them.
Got it.
And also, Jameis Winston was there, the legendary quarterback. He was there at halftime. He kind of yelled at him a little bit.
It will be interesting to see how the Tampa Bucks do this year.
Oh yeah. They play the Falcons, I think, this year. And wow, we're turning this into a sports radio show. But FSU plays all those fans out there. We play a real powerhouse this week in Charleston Southern. Should be a close game. I think it might be 59-3 or something like that. But you never know.
Are they at home or away?
I really don't know. I should know that. I don't know. I don't think it really matters. And
well, the reason I ask that is because sometimes if you go to a Rays game over in Tampa, if they're playing a premium team like the Yankees or Boston, they charge more for the tickets than if they're playing Toronto or the Astros. You know,
I'm sure these tickets aren't nearly as expensive. Oh yeah, the Florida State game was right over there at Camping World Stadium.
That's right. That was
that game. Actually, I went from I'm really glad I didn't buy tickets to this game to I can't believe I didn't buy tickets to this game. I mean, real quick.
One thing I noticed on the telecast last weekend is the Camping World signage is everywhere.
Yeah,
you can't look in one direction without seeing their logo.
They want to make sure they know. Everybody knows.
Everyone knows. It's not the Citrus Bowl anymore.
I was going to say.
And everyone's still saying it.
And they even had a patch on the uniforms.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, they want people to just get it ingrained.
Wow.
Anyone from Orlando, it's the Citrus Bowl. I mean, everyone says it over and over again. It's just a stigma.
It's ingrained in everybody.
It is just ingrained in. And also, how about this weather? It's nice not having a hurricane looming over us, huh, guys?
Well, we've haven't had one really that hit our area since, 2004?
Right.
When we got to 3 or 4 of them at one time there.
And it still really didn't hit us. Oh my gosh, I was watching TV and they kept going to the weather, like they were interrupting whatever I was watching to go to the breaking news weather, and they're like, "Oh, we got tornado warnings." I look outside, I think maybe a leaf fell off a tree. I was like, "Why I have to watch this for 30 minutes?"
And if you watch the big turnaround, when the whole hurricane comes around. And it just went through Claremont, just missed Orlando.
Yeah,
it did.
It was
close.
close.
It was close. I think Tallahassee got slammed.
They did.
And then
they closed up down. They closed everything down.
And then I think it went up through Georgia to South Carolina up there. That was wow.
But this weekend is the NFL. Start-off week. It's going to be a lot of great games.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It'd be interesting to see what we get to see on local TV because they have certain rules that they have to follow.
Really?
They have to take the Bucks. They have to take.
Dolphins or Jags. Maybe?
Jags, and then I think they have to take
Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Oh, boy, I'm a Dolphins fan.
So
Central Florida wants to see the Dolphins.
Yeah, I do. I know I do. That's
they try to shove the Jags down our throat.
No, thank you.
With the everything like that. If the Jags are on the road, they'll show that game. Then they'll show the Dolphins game. I think the Dolphins game will be on this week.
I hope so. I mean, they are playing a pretty good team, Seattle Seahawks there. So we'll see what happens.
Are they at home?
They are in Seattle.
They're in Seattle?
So it's actually a 4 o'clock. Oh, it probably will be on TV because the 4 o'clock.
It is be on TV.
Yeah, it'll definitely be on TV.
It's a long airplane.
This is the best time of year for Dolphins fans, though.
Well,
we still have Super Bowl hopes.
Oh, you're a Dolphins fan too?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
We still have a we're not have a winning record. We don't have a losing record. Though,
That's right. We're just on the way to the Super Bowl.
We're 500 right now, 0-0.
It's like coming out of baseball, coming out of spring training season when everybody has the hopes of going all the way and quickly funnels the other way. They filter it out. The losers.
That used to be the Cubs. Next season starts on opening day.
They're actually pretty good this year.
Yeah, this year they're doing great.
Amazing.
So what are we talking about tonight?
So, Tom, usually when I come up here, I stick to my bread and butter, and I talk about personal injury, and that's what I plan on talking about tonight. And I'm hoping maybe I can get into some landlord-tenant. If I don't ramble on too long about personal injury, I'm hoping I can get into some landlord-tenant that we can discuss.
Okay, great.
And if you're just tuning into the radio station, this is attorney Brandon Stewart filling in for attorney Justin Clark. And I told you guys, when I fill in, I want it dubbed over Behind the Law with Brandon Stewart over Justin Clark's name. And you guys still haven't gotten to that.
All right, we'll work on it.
I just, it doesn't even have to be the same voice.
Right.
But anyway, I'm just messing with you guys. But if you're just tuning in, this is attorney Brandon Stewart. I'm here for attorney Justin Clark from attorneys Justin Clark and Associates. We're located right here in Maitland for all your Central Florida legal needs. If you want to call the station right now, we'll answer any legal problem that you have. 407-916. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm getting confused here. 916-5400, and you can call toll free at 855-545-1025. And of course, if you don't want to talk on the radio and you want to keep it a little bit more private, you can call the office anytime. We have attorneys standing by all the time, waiting to talk to you and help you out with your problem. The number for that is 321-282-1055. Visit our website, youhavepower.com, and Justin Clark's voice, YOUHavePower.com. I do it every time. All right, Tom.
I saw on Facebook where you're going to be opening up an office up in Lake County.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it's secret because it's not, because Justin announced it, but I don't have.
You don't know much about it?
I don't know much about
what the plans
it.
are?
I don't know exactly what the plans are, but we will be out there for anyone in Lake County who's listening to us right now. We will be out there for your needs, and please feel free to call us, and we'll be local for you guys as well.
Pack a brown bag. You may be going up there Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you never know. I'll be glad to do it, though.
Oh, you didn't hear? You moved to Lake County.
Yeah. That's okay. It's a nice area out there.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So, Tom, I like to do some research and pull out some stats whenever I do my little segments here.
Sure.
And so I got the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles.
Okay.
And what do we have here? Well, they're telling us some things about Florida drivers and
we've had stats on before, but this is a little bit more current.
This is more current. I think I looked at the Department of Motor Vehicles for I think it was 2009, and I was like, I don't know why they were so old, but
yeah.
So this is a 2014 facts from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. So, in the Sunshine State, there were over 15.6 million licensed drivers.
15.6 million
licensed drivers.
All right.
That is a lot. 19 million plus vehicles were registered. And so it looks like in 2013, which is, about 3 years ago, 287,000 drivers were ticketed for not having insurance.
Really?
That is almost 300,000 drivers who do not have insurance.
Wow.
That is a staggering
That
number.
causes problems.
Oh, yeah. And so let's see here. And it looks like there were in 2013, there were 344,000 total crashes. So let's see. How many what did I say? There's roughly 280,000 drivers who didn't have insurance and 344,000 crashes. So a good amount of those crashes are people who did not have insurance.
So what can somebody do to protect themselves?
And we're going to go into that in just a minute. I just want everyone out there to understand, though, the risk and how many drivers are actually out there. I know people are driving, listening right now, and you need to understand that an accident can happen at any time, and you need to be protected. And so let's dive into this personal injury, and I want all listeners to understand that personal injury doesn't just include car accidents. It can include a variety of different things.
Okay.
I mean, it could be dog bites. It could be premises liability, meaning you slip and fall on somebody's staircase or something like that. I mean, there's many different kinds of personal injury. It's just that I talk about car crashes, moving motor vehicle accidents, because that's the most common.
Sure.
Especially here in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Because when it rains, I mean, people forget how to drive. Am I right about that one, Rob?
Yeah, not only that, but everybody's from somewhere else, and there's so many different driving habits around here.
Right. And when it rains, it's like, I just forgot how to drive now.
Yeah.
And if your tires aren't changed or, they're not up to date, I mean, you're slipping and sliding everywhere.
Sure,
and accidents are going to happen. So let's talk about, you're on the road and you get hit by a driver. You get hit from behind. You get hit from the side. You're not at fault, pretty much. You get into a car accident. What are the first things you should do when you get hit? I mean, clearly you should call me, but that's going to come in a little bit. So what you should do is write down, when you get hit, clearly you're in a daze. I mean, you could be in a daze. I mean,
sure.
Assuming you're not being carted off in an ambulance right away and you're incapacitated, you're a little bit shocked. You're a little bit in a daze.
Yeah.
So what you should do, I mean, I don't know if you have a pen and pencil right on you, but I know you have a phone, and you open up your phone and you type into your notes everything you remember about how that injury occurred.
And take pictures.
Right. You're going to want to write down everything you can remember, and definitely you want to take pictures of not only the injury to yourself, but the damage of your car.
And try and remember any statement the other driver says.
Right. And that plays a part as well.
Yeah.
And so you're going to write down everything you can remember. I mean, you're in shock when it happens, and maybe a couple hours later, a couple days later, you don't exactly remember.
Yeah. And
so if you write it down, at the time it happens, you'll have a better recollection, and it really helps your case out, and it helps you protect yourself better. You're going to want to get the names and the contact information of any witness to the incident. So if you see, somebody walking along on the sidewalk, or a biker, someone just walking their dog, I mean, anybody, a driver who is also involved, or a driver who happens to stop to see if you're okay, get their name, get their information. I mean, most likely the police will, because we're going to go into that in a second. But just in case, you need that person, because it's going to help you later on. If there's going to be issues with your car crash or something like that, it will help you later on.
Unfortunately, though, I think some people don't want to get involved. I didn't see anything,
True, but there are people who, are good Samaritans, as I'd like to say, and they like to make sure you're okay and say, hey, I saw that guy. He was totally in the wrong. He hit you from behind, and I'll testify. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And those are the good people out there.
Good.
The third thing, and this is, I can't stress this enough, you get hit, and, man, that person behind you gives you a story. I mean, we don't need to call the police. You don't need to do that. I'll just give you my insurance card. We'll go our own ways.
Yeah.
Or I'll just give you some cash. Here. How much? And unless you're going to fork over $1 million or something astronomical like that, I would highly recommend that you call the police.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right away. And it's really important to get that police report, because this is really what the insurance companies are looking at. When you get into that motor vehicle accident, they want to see who's actually at fault here. The police report will provide that to them. While it might not be admitted in evidence in the trial, I mean, this is getting a little in depth. There are ways where if a police officer sees that, he can at least most likely testify as to what he saw once he arrived on the scene.
Sure.
I mean, granted, it's going to be a fight to get that in, but still, it's important to call the police, and a police officer has a lot of weight when it comes to testifying at a trial or something like that. So it is important to call the police officer or any kind of sheriff's office to come and investigate and get that report for you.
Make that old 911 call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Or an ambulance. I mean, if it's bad enough, definitely get yourself on an ambulance and get to the hospital quick.
Mm-hmm.
And a police officer will probably do that for you. I mean, honestly. And the last, my favorite thing to do that you should probably do is contact a personal injury attorney right away. Like myself, like attorney Justin Clark. And we are standing by all the time for you. If you want to call the office, 321-282-1055. Again, 321-282-1055. We're always there. You get into an accident, you call us right away.
And what's the first thing you would say to a client calling in?
Do not talk to your insurance company. I mean, do not talk to no, I'm sorry. Talk to your insurance company, that's fine, but do not talk to the other side's insurance company. And don't talk to anyone right now except for us. Just hold off on it.
Yeah.
And so another thing I like to tell my clients is many personal injury lawyers, they take cases on a contingency basis.
Mm-hmm.
Contingency, it sounds like such a complicated word. It's really not. A contingency means that it's free for the most part. In other words, you sign up with us, we're not charging you anything up front. Mm-hmm. It's the typical standard third, or I mean, depending on circumstances, we can do it for less than that. But you don't pay anything to us up front.
You get paid if they collect.
If we win, if we collect on the back end, then that's where we get paid.
And I understand that if you go to trial versus a settlement, you get a little bit more.
It is a little bit more, but you also have to think about what we're incurring.
There's more work involved.
Right, way more work. I mean, then you got depositions, you got to file a complaint. Oh my gosh, it goes on, and of course, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more, but it is what it is. And so I want everyone out there to know, if you think when you get hit and when you're in a car accident and you get hit, don't think, well, I can't get a lawyer, it's just too expensive. It doesn't work like that. You don't pay anything up front, and everything's taken care of on the back end, and it's just nice to be taken care of like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I also want everyone to understand the statute of limitations when it comes to getting hit in a car accident.
All right,
it's 4 years in the state of Florida.
Okay, so explain this.
Okay, so
you're in an accident today.
Right.
That means 4 years from now, what?
You're in an accident today. You have 4 years from today to file a lawsuit against the person that hit you.
Got it.
So
okay.
you could be in a dispute with the insurance company. I mean, if you're going on 3 or 4 years, that's, I don't know, I think it's sloppy attorney work. But if or let's say you didn't get to an attorney until 2 years down the line. Either way, you only have 4 years. It's typically from the minute you realize that you were injured. But, I mean, if you're involved in a car accident, you're injured either that day or at least a few days afterwards.
You could start to have physical problems months after you have an accident.
Right. And that's another thing I want to stress to listeners out there. If you get hit in a car accident, or if you get hit in an accident, you're involved in a car accident, you might not feel pain right away, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
But you should still go get checked out by the doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do cars weigh, Rob? Do you know?
They're tonnage, but you do have a time limit, right, to go to the hospital?
Right, you do. And so, like Rob was just saying, they're a tonnage. In other words, a ton is hitting you. I mean, think about it. You're in a car, and then a ton is hitting you. I mean, 2,000 plus pounds.
Yeah.
It's going straight into you.
So what do you have, like 7 or 14 days?
You have what's called a 14-day rule, and that is for your personal injury protection, or PIP. But I'm going to say personal injury protection.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is Florida is a no-fault state. So typically for personal injury, you have to prove some kind of negligence, meaning someone had a duty, but they failed on that duty. The failure of that duty, actually, it was directly related to their injury, and that they actually suffer some type of damage.
So the other driver could have been distracted and you saw them looking down.
Right.
Or they were on what pavement and didn't stop in time. They were going too fast for conditions.
Right. And all that is fine when it comes to collecting from them, which I'll go into in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to no-fault insurance, that's an exception to this negligence rule. It pretty much means that your own car insurance will pay for your injuries and damages resulting from that accident, no matter who was at fault.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter that person was negligent. You have $10,000, which is the requirement in the state of Florida to have, is $10,000 in personal injury protection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to cover your medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get hit and if you go to the hospital, if you go to doctors after that, you're covered by your own insurance. And that's why it's actually really important to have insurance, because then you have that. That's why a lot of these drivers don't, what did I say, about 300,000 or so drivers were ticketed for not having insurance.
Well, besides a doctor and going to a medical facility, there's lots of times rehab that you have to go through.
Right. And rehab, they'll bill your personal injury protection. That's where they're billing.
Yeah.
And so if you need that, I mean, it's good to have. I mean, you have to have it. When you get insurance, I mean, that's a guarantee. You're going to have personal injury protection, and there's no doubt about that. And so that's actually the good thing about no fault, about being a no fault state, is that you have protection no matter what. Meaning, even if that person drove off and they left you in the dust, you still have $10,000 that's going to pay you for your medical bills.
Yeah.
So certain things are you have to have mostly serious injuries in order to collect, and so you go to the doctor, you get $10,000 in personal injury protection, like I just talked about.
Right. So
what happens if you have a real serious injury? I mean, you're going to go past that $10,000.
Absolutely.
I mean, no doubt about it. You're going to go past that $10,000. So what happens at that point? What do? You obviously you have to sue that person that hit you, and the goal is hoping that person that hit you has what's called bodily injury protection. I've asked you guys 2 or 3 times now. See if you're listening to me. Is bodily injury protection required in the state of Florida?
No.
Tom, what do you think?
Just say yes.
He said no. I'll say yes.
Oh, Rob's right. He listens. You get an A+ today. Bodily injury is not required in the state of Florida.
Oh, wow.
How scary is that?
Yeah.
Super scary.
Why? Why is it not required? Maybe I should go lobby the legislator or something. I don't know, but it's not required in the state of Florida.
Uh-huh.
And that's scary. But we'll go into what happens if that person doesn't have bodily injury in a second. But bodily injury protection is this thing that drivers have where let's say the typical bodily injury protection is somewhere between, I don't know, they'll have like $10,000, which is the minimum, or they'll have like $25,000, or then they'll have up to like $50,000 or $100,000. I mean, the bigger it is, I mean, the better it is because it's safer. And so when you rack up that $10,000, you are now supposed to sue the other side for, your bodily injury. And the thing is if they don't have bodily injury, well, then you have to sue, Joe Schmo, the guy who hit you, as an individual. Mm-hmm. And the odds of them having whatever it is, more than $10,000 to
good luck. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And as Justin says all the time, it's just a piece of paper. I mean, they get a judgment against them. Fine. Court's not ordering them to pay. They're just putting a judgment on them. And they file bankruptcy. They get out of it.
And what happens if it was a hit and run and they never find the culprit?
Right. And now what if bodily injury protection, or, even if bodily injury protection is not enough? I mean, if let's say it's $10,000, like I was just saying. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. You have $70,000, $80,000 in medical bills. So great. My $10,000 in personal injury protection paid. The guy that hit me is $10,000 paid. So now I have $60,000 outstanding. Or let's say the guy just drove off. I mean, he just hit me and drove off, which I mean is very common. I have clients that they're going through that right now. I mean, luckily, knock on wood, they have what's called uninsured motorist protection. Yeah, UM. And again, if you're just listening to the show, this is attorney Brandon Stewart talking. I'm here with Tom Benson and Rob. Am I saying Galbraith? Am I saying that right?
That's right.
And if you have any questions, we're talking about personal injury. If you want to call the show and talk about any kind of personal injury or any kind of legal matter you have, period, 407-916-5400, or you can visit the website at youhavepower.com, youhavepower.com, and contact us anytime and call the firm 321-282-1055. We're here standing by all the time for you. And if you get in any kind of personal injury whatsoever, not just a motor vehicle accident, I mean, dog bite, anything at all, please contact us and we will make sure that your rights are preserved and that you recover what, is right.
And the number for the law office again is 321-282-1055.
Right. I just rush right through it.
I know. Most people do.
You've got that calm, collective voice.
Well, you have to say it slow so people can.
So they can write it or remember it. There you go. And so what we were just talking about is what happens if you get hit in an accident and that guy just doesn't have insurance and I'm out of here. Mm-hmm, or I don't belong in this country, I'm out of here. Or any kind of reason why someone would drive away, whatever dumb reason, they're drunk, whatever. Or if they just don't have enough money to cover your injury, you would need to have what's called an uninsured motorist protection.
Got it.
Also not required in the state of Florida.
Really?
Not required at all.
But you should have it.
But you should absolutely have it. And the insurance company, when you go and get your coverage plan, they're going to ask you, hey, there's this thing called uninsured motorist. It means if somebody hits you, we'll cover your medical bills. Do you want this? And then you either have to waive it away, or you say, I should probably get that.
Get it? Gee whiz.
Yeah, and trust me,
You're just asking for trouble further on down the road.
Right. And
now, I just renewed.
Oh, okay.
I just renewed my for the year, and because you renew for a year and pay for a year, it's a lot cheaper than monthly. And the question they asked me, and I forgot what the difference was, was what's the difference between stacked and unstacked coverage?
Great question, Tom.
Thank you.
Stacked is the way to go.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. How many cars do you have?
2.
Oh, man. You're living the life, man. 2 cars? Okay. So you got uninsured motorists on both cars. Individually, let's just say it's 25, 50. Let's go up more. 50, 100. You're smarter than that.
Okay.
So you got 50 and 100 on each car.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not stacked, you only have 50 and 100, meaning 50,000 per person that's in the car with you. Or if you're the only person in the car, it's only 50,000, or 100,000 total for how many people are in the car with you.
Got it.
If you stack it, both cars mesh together coverage-wise.
So it's almost double the coverage.
It is double the coverage. And now you have 100 and 200, 100 and 200 policy limits because you stacked.
Right.
Which is actually the smartest thing to do. It's probably a little bit cheaper to stack than it would be to get the higher coverage. I'm no insurance broker, so I really don't know.
Oh, now there's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to take a break. We'll finish that thought on the other side of the break,
All right.
and also we'll get into some tenant-landlord situations.
See you guys in a little bit.
Listening to You Have Power Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark. For personalized help with your legal issues, visit youhavepower.com or call 321-282-1055. Now, back in studio with more expert legal advice, here's Justin Clark.
Well, welcome back to the show, everybody. This is Tom Benson along with Rob Galbraith, our producer. Justin is on the road today. He's up in Tennessee visiting the alma mater, and we have a sub. A guy who knows his stuff, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
This is Brandon Stewart. Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Tom.
Got to do it right. Got it. Brandon Stewart.
There it is. If you're not going to dub my voice over Justin Clark's name, you got to at least intro me like that every single time.
Do it all you got.
Gosh, you got to puff up my ego a little bit.
The name of the show is You Have Power Behind the Law from Justin Clark and Associates. Yep. And tonight we're talking about a lot of insurance needs as far as being involved in a car accident.
Yep.
And also we're about to get into some tenant and landlord situations.
Oh, yeah. Fun stuff, honestly. So before we went to the break, we were talking about uninsured motorists, which is something everyone should have to protect themselves in case they're hit in an accident by somebody else who decides they want to drive off or, do something that's not really smart like that. Or if their bodily injury protection isn't adequate enough to cover their injuries.
Well, everybody likes to get away with as little of a monthly payment as they can for car insurance.
Right.
What are the things that you should have, you must have, is for auto insurance?
Look, I definitely think you should have bodily injury protection. It's not required, as we discussed before. Rob got an A on that exam. He knew it. It's not required in the state.
And I'm just an average student.
He's just an average student. and it's not required, but I really think people should have it because you don't want to get sued personally. It's not fun. I mean, you just it's okay. Have your insurance take care of it. They'll settle it out before you even have to worry about a trial. You don't want to deal with that headache, and that's just not fun. So bodily injury is something you should definitely have. And the utmost important out of all these things, uninsured motorists. Please, people. This is a golden ticket for you guys. I mean, it's kind of like a get out of jail free. I mean, you get hit by somebody who drives away.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing you think is, well, I'm screwed. I'm done. What am I going to do? I don't have the insurance. I don't have the money for the medical bills. I don't have health insurance. I mean, who knows? Uninsured motorists is just the way to go. I mean, it's worth whatever extra money it is. It really is. So
you mentioned something last half hour that I think is worth repeating. You said never ever talk to the other driver's insurer,
right?
Unless you have an attorney,
right? You don't do it, people, because let me tell you why. They're going to say, "Oh, well, you're not in a hospital, and so you must not be that hurt. We will give you $2,000 right now to settle this personal injury claim." And you go, "Ooh, $2,000? I'm not that hurt."
Yeah,
$2,000, right? Just for getting hit. All right, sounds good. And then later down the line, you realize you were actually really hurt. And that you already signed a release. They give you what's called a release of claim, meaning you accept this money, you're not going to sue us. And then you sign that, and then now you can't sue them.
Yeah.
And you accepted the money. So don't talk to them.
And the thing to keep in mind is the other person's insurance company is their goal. Their goal is to pay you as little as possible.
Right. And you had discussed before, do they get bonuses for this? I don't know. But something smells a little fishy about it.
Sure.
Why were you trying to keep money from someone who is obviously hurt? I mean, that is your job, is to not give them what they're actually, entitled to for their injury.
Mm-hmm.
And the average citizen, they're not going to fight hard. I mean, you might. I'm not going to say, the average American is not going to fight for their rights. But someone just might say, hey, they might have a policy of like $50,000, and the insurance, the adjuster says they'll give you, 5 or 10, and that's a lot of money to, the average person. But they don't realize how much they're racking up in medical bills.
Sure.
And I keep tabs on that.
Yeah.
I mean, almost every other week or so, I am requesting medical bills, records from wherever you're treating, and I stay on top of what you need for your to get better and how much money you're going to need.
Yeah.
And
it totals up quickly.
Oh, it totals up real quickly. Yeah. I mean, you get an MRI or two, you're in the thousands. You get an X-ray, even more. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go through physical therapy, you're up there, and then if you need surgery, oh boy, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you accepting that $5-10,000, while it may seem like a lot in your mind, it's really not. And you need to make sure that you have an attorney who is watching over your needs, like myself, like Justin Clark. You call the law firm and we'll help you out, right? 321-282-1055. Let me slow it down for Tom. 321-282-1055. Visit us at youhavepower.com, YOU havepower.com.
And the law firm is Justin Clark and Associates.
Yes.
And we have one of those associates with us.
Present.
Brandon Stewart.
I'm here. And there's also a double side of the sword here. I mean, while you are fighting with the bodily injury, you got, and I know I'm ranting about uninsured motorists and how great they are. I mean, how great the idea is of uninsured motorists.
Yeah.
These guys are maybe a little bit stingier than the bodily injury people. The bodily injury adjusters, they actually just want to get the claim over with, honestly. I mean, when you get it, if you're just representing yourself, you don't get an attorney, they're going to bully you. Mm-hmm. But if you get an attorney, that's when the attorney's the bully at that point.
Yeah.
And then they turn into, someone who's just going to say, okay, fine, just don't hurt us. Take the money. Like, we don't want to deal with you.
And again, you work on a contingency fee.
Right. No cost to you whatsoever. We're not going to charge you up front for anything when it comes to a personal injury case. We only collect if we win, and that is why we try and strive to do an excellent job on your case, because we get paid, depending on the outcome.
Yeah.
And that's why we want to make sure that we do the absolute best for you, because
if you're investing time,
right.
If you're going to invest time, you want to make sure you get compensated.
Absolutely. So it's actually better that it works this way.
Yeah.
Because I have to work hard pretty much.
Now, how many different insurance claims do you fight on any given time?
It's too stressful. I don't even know, to tell you the truth. It's so many.
Really?
And yeah, I couldn't even put a number on it because there's just so many. And it constantly fighting with these people is not something you should have to deal with. You're hurt. You need to treat. Why would you need to deal with fighting with somebody to get money? You can hire someone else to do it.
Well, without naming the names of insurance companies, are there some companies that are more difficult to work with than others?
Let me tell you guys something, okay?
All right.
I'm going on a rant here. Unless it's a cut and dry accident, meaning you were stopped at a red light, you get slammed from behind, or you're at a stop sign, you get slammed from behind, or someone hits you dead on and then they go in the wrong lane and hit you head on. If there's any kind of gray area, meaning maybe you're going right at a stop sign or something, just a little bit of a gray area, not much, you're not doing anything wrong, those insurance companies are going to jump all over it. And I have a client right now who was involved in a motor accident. She was going right at a stop sign, and someone was going left. It was a three-way stop sign. It's hard not to show the listener right now.
Now, she came to a complete stop.
She came to a complete stop,
okay.
Absolutely.
And then she's going to proceed making a right-hand turn.
Yeah, she is proceeding right.
And as she's making the right-hand turn, somebody was out of their lane to make a left.
Right. Somebody was making a left to the lane next to hers. Cut the left way too short and hit her dead on. Hit her head to head.
Probably going too fast.
Yeah, definitely going too fast. She just happened to be making a turn at the time.
Now, the police officer gave the other person a citation.
The police officer, not my client, but gave the other person the citation for reckless driving or whatever it was. So it's pretty cut and dry to me. My client did absolutely nothing wrong.
Sure.
Come to find out a couple weeks later, this insurance company is not accepting liability. Well, they are, but 50% liability.
Okay.
Your client's 50% at fault.
Got it.
I said, excuse me? 50% of fault my client is at. 50% of fault. And I said, please, what statute was she breaking? What law was she breaking? Because the police officer gave your client the ticket.
And where's her ticket?
Yeah, where's her ticket?
Yeah.
And then, the insurance adjuster tried to tell me things like, oh, well, even her own insurance company, says that she's at fault. And I'm like, well, this is news to me. And I had to investigate a little bit. I call my client's insurance company, come to find out that is 0% true.
So it's a tall story.
Oh, it was a tall story.
They're just trying to get you to shake your confidence.
Yeah, which it didn't at all, because I was ready to fight the whole thing, which I still am, by the way. And this is ongoing, and I'm fighting it hard because this is unreal. I mean, I was lied to by an insurance company. Imagine just the average citizen. They might believe it. They might say, all right, I guess I was doing something wrong.
Maybe I thought I was out.
Yeah, maybe I was doing it. Well, you're not. You weren't doing anything wrong. And I'm here to fight for it because I know you weren't doing anything wrong.
Actually, they're just being bullied.
They're just being bullied.
Yeah.
And so I'm fighting that right now, and I'm going to continue fighting it. I mean, we're going to have to go to suit if we have to, because it's just not right what they're doing to my client. And I express that to every client that I have. I fight as hard as I possibly can for everyone. And we're not the biggest personal injury firm out there, but that's okay because we take really good care of our clients. It's not.
Sure.
In fact, when you call us, we don't have an intake person, asking you what happened and then funneling it out to another attorney who's going to look at the sheet and say, oh, okay, yeah, I guess it's a good. No, you're going to talk to myself. You're going to talk to Justin. You're not going to talk to a paralegal. You're not going to talk to an intake specialist who doesn't even know anything about law, really, other than I know how to answer a phone and ask questions.
And they know how to read a traffic report from the police.
Right. You're going to talk to an actual attorney. And I'm gonna end this segment with this. Like I just said, an attorney is going to talk to you about your personal injury at our firm. Justin, Clark, myself, any other attorney at our firm, it's going to be us. It's not going to be a paralegal or an intake specialist. And I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. And please call the firm if you get into any kind of personal injury whatsoever, whether it be an accident, dog bite, premises liability, any kind of negligence or any kind of injury. Please, 321-282-1055. Again, 321-282-1055. We're standing by all the time for you, and we're ready to take your call.
Well, the great thing about calling Justin Clark and Associates is that once you do, you guys run interference, and then the average person, the victim, doesn't have to worry about it.
Right. And another good thing about attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, we're there on Saturdays. Yeah.
Say what?
People actually get into accidents on Saturdays, Rob. Can you believe this?
I believe it now.
It happens. People get into accidents on Saturdays, and we're there. Go ahead, Rob.
That number, once again, for Justin Clark and Associates is 321-282-1055.
Yep.
We're talking to attorney Brandon Stewart. Justin is on the road this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the other areas that you specialize is in tenant-landlord situations.
Landlord, tenant. You keep saying tenant, landlord. I'm always hearing landlord, tenant. You're the only person I've heard say tenant, landlord.
Okay.
Because obviously you're pro-tenant.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the state of Florida is pro-landlord.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And not always a bad thing. I represent landlords and I represent tenants, depending on what the scenario is. And so just know when a person rents or lives in a house or they rent, an apartment, they then become a tenant, which is governed by Florida law. You're going to have a lease typically. If you don't have a lease, the Florida landlord-tenant statutes in Florida are going to govern. But if there is a lease, typically that lease is good at the landlord-tenant relationship will adhere to that lease. However, the Florida law will still apply.
Got it.
So it can't be in direct contradiction of Florida law.
So if you're becoming a renter and you get a lease, what's the first thing you should do with that lease?
Oh, well, just sign it away and give it to the landlord back. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. Read it over.
Yeah.
Call a lawyer.
Yeah.
Please.
Look at the fine print.
Oh, there's fine print. I mean, how long are our leases, guys? How long's the longest lease you guys have probably had before?
I've had a year.
I mean, like how long, like page wise, is the lease?
I don't know. I don't remember because I didn't.
Less than 5 pages, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, do I want to read 5 pages of size 8 font?
Yeah. Just
like reading through, and then they're sticking me with things like this fee and that fee and things like that. No, I don't. So you're going to want to call. You're going to want to call an attorney like myself or Justin, and we're going to review that lease for you and make sure that everything's fair and they're not, waving away certain rights that the landlord has to adhere to when it comes to the Florida statutes on landlord and tenant.
And that does remind me, I had to sign a thick lease agreement when I was getting my kid into UCF, one of the off-campus places where you can go in there and sign everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so thick, I didn't read it. I'm like, And then we go through, it's like, well, if there's so many contingencies. If you drop out, you owe the money no matter what. Yeah. So you just might as well just sign it.
Rob, you probably signed away your firstborn.
I don't know. He's gone. I don't know where it happened to him.
You don't know. You don't know what you're signing when you do this.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Does a landlord have to have a standard lease, or can he have a lease for an adult versus a lease that he uses for students?
Well, I mean, to enter into a lease, you have to be over 18 years or older most of the time. Mm-hmm. You have the right to enter into contracts however you want. I mean, if someone's willing to agree to whatever you draft up,
I see.
It is what it is.
So all the more reason to make sure you review it.
Right. I mean, while you can get a standard lease off of the internet, no doubt about that. You're going to tweak it a little bit, and we can. And the same thing goes for landlords out there. Don't just get a standard lease. I mean, you're going to want certain things airtight. The standard lease is just boilerplate information.
Yeah.
You're going to want something that's airtight. What if this happens? What if that happens? Whoa, I didn't think about that.
What if a visitor, rather than the person who actually lived in the apartment, caused a problem?
Or what if a visitor comes and doesn't leave?
Yeah.
And then did I write anything in that lease about how long they can stay there? I mean, how long can this guy tell me? Oh, he's just visiting.
Yeah.
6 months down the line, oh, he's still just visiting. Yeah, no. So come see a lawyer, and we can do either one. We will review your lease, or we can draft your lease. I mean, either way, landlord, tenant, we can do both. So let's go into this eviction thing here. Landlords, you got a tenant who's not paying you, and that's upsetting. I get it.
I thought you were going to ask us how many times we've been evicted in our lives.
Yeah, how many times you guys been evicted?
None.
Yeah, none. Landlords, though, you got a tenant who's not paying you, so now you got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing we get a lot. Landlords have friends. Their tenants are their friends. And now it becomes like, we're not friends anymore because you're not paying me. And I was real friendly for the first 2 or 3 months because we are friends. And now all of a sudden you're not paying me. And I feel it's best to hire an attorney for that reason. Because while it is you that's evicting them, it's not you. You hired an attorney to do it. And you don't actually have to be the one that's, doing everything, serving them with papers and this and that. I mean, you got an attorney involved.
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect.
Right. Now, I think once you were here once before where you were talking about the fact that, if I remember this correctly, if the tenant leaves and leaves personal belongings behind, a landlord can actually just put them at the curb and that's it.
Right. And I actually did a little bit more research into this. Now, the writ of possession, which is what is actually issued once an eviction is ordered by the court. A writ of possession is when the sheriff, I want to tell people out there, before you get a writ of possession, or even when you do, let your tenant know, hey, I'm about to have a sheriff come and forcibly eject you from this house. I mean, you save yourself from embarrassment. Yeah. Go ahead and leave right now. But let's say they don't. Let's say they're like, you're bluffing. You're not going to do that. Yeah. Well, sheriff comes. They're going to put a notice on your door. They'll knock. They'll tell you. Say, hey, you got a notice. You got 24 hours. Get out of here. Let's say they don't. All right, sheriff comes back the next day with the landlord, with the locksmith, and they go in there and they kick you out. That sheriff's going to put your stuff on the curb. They're just going to stick it to the curb and say, they're going to place you out to the curb, and then they're going to place all your belongings out to the curb.
So if you want your stuff, you better make arrangements to pick it up.
I mean, you have at least 24 hours when that sheriff, and trust me, it's not a joke. When the sheriff is the one putting a notice on your door, it's not a joke at that point. It might be all fun and games at first, but when a sheriff's there, it's not going to end pretty at all. However, let's say they abandon that property like you were just talking about. Let's say they just leave before they even get evicted, or they get evicted and they just abandon the property. If that property is less than $500, you can dispose of it how you like. You got to give them reasonable notice. Like, hey, you left your junk here, because if it's less than 500, it's probably junk, unless it's just one thing that's 500. But that's another story. Yeah. So, hey, you left your stuff here. I'm giving you reasonable notice, pursuant to my rights. And this is why you want an attorney, because an attorney can do this for you. I mean, this will be the end of the eviction process for the most part, but an attorney can still do this for you because they know. I know. You tell them, hey, you left your stuff here. It's less than $500. I don't have to keep this around.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it away.
Yeah.
So come get it, or I'm going to throw it away. Fine. Now, if it's more than $500, this becomes a headache. If it's more than $500, well, you guys still give them reasonable notice. Say, hey, you left your stuff here, and come get it. And let's say they're like, I'll get around to it. You say, all right, fine. I'm going to put it into storage. Well, great. Now you got to put that stuff into storage. That costs money. And then you have to sell it. If they don't come to get it, then you have to go sell it at some kind of sale.
Storage wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. It's not fun. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so you want to hire an attorney to help you out with that kind of stuff as well.
How often do you get calls from tenants who have problems getting their deposits back from landlords?
Usually landlords are actually pretty good about that thing.
Okay.
I don't get many calls about that. There's Florida statutes that are pretty on point with, I believe it's, if the landlord plans on keeping that security deposit, I believe they have to let you know within 15 or 30 days that they plan on keeping that security deposit. And then you have to put in an objection as to why you think they shouldn't be able to. And that's the thing. Landlords try to pull one on you all the time. I mean, there's something in Florida that's called, quote unquote, normal wear and tear. And that's when, you're living in a house for a year or two. There's going to be some marks on the wall. I mean, you're living there.
Yeah.
And Florida law doesn't really see that a tenant has to pay for that kind of stuff. Landlords, on the other hand, oh yeah, you're paying for that, and you're paying thousands.
What if you repaint a room and you change the color without letting the landlord know?
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you're listening out there, please don't. If you don't own the house and you're just renting it from someone, please don't paint it. I mean, it's the equivalent of letting someone borrow your car and then getting it back painted. I mean, you didn't have a right to do that. It's not yours. So get permission, please. But this normal wear and tear thing. It's like, you got a little stain on the carpet. Oh, I had to replace that carpet, $2,000. And then, oh boy, that's a fight. Please hire an attorney for that. Please call myself or Justin Clark. We'll fight that all day, every day. You call us 321-282-1055. Again, 321-282-1055. Rob's shaking the finger at me. It looks like we got, a minute left?
Yeah, a minute and a half.
Oh, boy, okay.
Is there any, you know what? I want to be a landlord. I think I just decided.
You didn't let me get into the court registry stuff, because that really explains how pro-landlord Florida really is.
Is there anything worse than a slum landlord?
Oh,
I mean, really.
we can do that next show.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So what are you guys doing this weekend? Tom, what are you doing?
I'm doing a little work here, and then I'm going to watch some football.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Rob, what about you?
I'm going to go to my sewing class and then my cooking class.
Oh,
and then,
ballet maybe afterwards?
That's
that sounds awesome.
No, I'm watching football.
Oh, yeah, we're all watching football. We've been craving it, right? I've been craving it.
But he'll be sitting in his tutu watching the football.
Yeah, he has an early ballet, so he can make the football at 1 o'clock.
That's right. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging, but I'm definitely excited. Football season. I've been waiting a long time for that. 5 months or so. 7 months. Longer than that.
And not far behind is cooler weather.
Oh yeah, I can already kind of feel it out there. What about you guys? No, am I just?
I do in the mornings or in the evening.
The weather's broke a little bit.
Am I just saying things? I don't know. All right, everybody. Justin, we'll see you next Friday. He'll be here. It was a pleasure speaking with everybody.
Thanks. Tune in next week for more You Have Power Behind the Law from Justin Clark and Associates.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks for listening to You Have Power Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark from the law firm Justin Clark and Associates. For personalized help with your legal challenges, visit youhavepower.com and tune in every Friday at 6 p.m. for more expert answers to your legal questions here on News Radio 102.5 WFLA.
Rush Limbaugh. Here's the dictionary definition of bombastic. Rush Limbaugh.